Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where I have a dinner to make, so let's get to this. Today we are covering Batman #2 and its first story, The Joker Meets Catwoman. This is actually only the second Catwoman story, or the cat as she's referred to at this point, and the third Joker story, so this is sort of a big deal in a way. Neither character has been built up all that much yet. Well, the Joker has. I'm wrong about the Joker, but the Joker has. This might not be the best written Batman comic so far. Like, far from it, but it ends up being the most entertaining due to, like, all the continuity and characters being thrown into it. Like, this is the most continuity heavy of the Golden Age stories I have read so far in this video series, counting all the Superman comics I've read. Though the Superman comics are getting a little bit better with that, with showing several villains, especially in, like, the last issue I read of Superman. So the newspaper prints that the Joker has lived from the last time he fought the Joker, and the Joker returns and he survived. Remember, the editor made them make sure he was alive at the end because they wanted to reuse him. Batman is going to break into the hospital and take the Joker to a world-famous brain surgeon to fix him. Wait, this was always an option? Why didn't we try this again? At the same time, the Crime Syndicate Incorporated, yeah, you heard me right, Incorporated. Do you think they're traded on Wall Street? Can I buy stocks in the Crime Syndicate? The Crime Syndicate Incorporated, I can't get through that whole name without laughing, need a new leader. I think their mob boss was killed in the last Joker story. A mob boss was killed in the last Joker story. I just don't know if it was the Crime Syndicate Inc. So they need a new leader. And they decide it's going to be the Joker. Pretty much every Batman fan here is probably going, oh, that is a terrible idea. But remember, this is only the third Joker story. They should still know it's a bad idea, seeing the stuff he pulled and kind of killed their boss in the last issue. This is not going to be a good idea. It's kind of fascinating that none of these mobsters are trying to become the leader themselves. And especially with the mobsters and the entire tone of this comic, Batman's definitely becoming a lighter, more kid-friendly comic as time moves on. This story especially feels more like a Dick Tracy story than it does The Shadow, which the early Batman comics were. And we're still in the early Batman comics. It's barely been a year. He's already been making jokes when he's fighting. He has Robin. His costume's a little more less dark and more expressive. So he's evolved quite a bit in such a short time. So the mobsters get into the hospital pretty easily without most of the outside police noticing this, and they take out the rest of the police in the hospital without the outside guards noticing at all. It's actually pretty impressive. By the way, the hospital looks more like a courthouse than it does a hospital. They make the surgeons work on the Joker and have got him stabilized. While that's going on, the police are distracted by the Batman showing up, which we're already expecting the Batman to show up, but he just kind of like shows up and poses. And I became suspicious right away because they're kind of keeping his face in the shadows a bit, even though he's wearing a mask. Not every panel, but a few of the panels have his face in a shadow. And he's beating up the police, which shocks them, and he ends up killing at least one officer. So yeah, this is definitely not the Batman, though Batman does eventually get into beating up the police, and he should. They end up cornering him in a barn where he sets it on fire. He tries to escape but gets shot and killed. It turns out it's not Batman, it's one of the mobsters, which I guess they could just assume. I think he actually had an alibi for not being Batman. After that's happened, the mobsters are removing the Joker out of the hospital. There has been an old woman selling gum outside, which should be a little suspicious, seeing it's like nearly midnight. This old woman turns out to be the cat. Yes, Selina Kyle returns, though she hasn't been named Selina Kyle. She's after the Pharaoh jewels, which the mobsters are too. This whole part feels perfunctory at best. It does come into play, it just doesn't feel like it's the most important part of all this. Like, I don't 100% understand why the Catwoman is here, or the cat. She's about to escape when Batman finally shows up. Doesn't do anything about inside the hospital, but he shows up. He basically kidnaps Catwoman until she tells him what he needs to know about the Joker. He's been taken by the mob. And he agrees to let her go. The whole time he's being a little too creepy and coming onto her way too hard. I do not like this side of Batman. But after he lets her go, he reveals to Robin that he coated the floor with something so Batman can essentially follow her footprints, with a special light. Robin is the one who decides to go follow her. Batman goes to deal with the Joker. The Joker is now awake on Crime Syndicate Incorporated's hospital plane, which is just brought up like this is a usual thing. I've never heard of a hospital plane. It sounds like a bad place to have a hospital because planes don't really stay still, especially if you have to do surgery up there. I mean, it sounds awesome and a terrible idea at the same time. The Joker's awake. We don't get his reaction to finding out he's now the head of the crime syndicate. He's just kind of there, and he explains he's already poisoned the guy who has the Pharaoh jewels or gems. And then he reveals to the rest of the mobsters he's already kind of injected them with a sleeping dose to knock them all out. They're double-crossed. I mean, it's the Joker. Us knowing who the Joker is, we're not surprised. The mobsters should have been. I mean, why do you just throw somebody in charge? That's going to backfire on you. Batman does show up somehow and takes out the already drugged members of the Crime Syndicate Incorporated. Actually shouldn't have been that much of a fight for him. Joker gets away at the castle by the guy who owns the Pharaoh jewels. Yeah, he owns a castle. Catwoman has disguised herself as some sort of lady companion he's invited over. She is just going to steal the gems. Because mostly the cat at this point is just a master of disguise more than she is like a thief. I mean, she is a thief, but a lot of her thievery just involves elaborate disguises. She finds that he's dead with the Joker smile on his face, so she knows the Joker's coming. So she grabs the jewels. That's when the Joker shows up and points the gun at her. This is the titular the Joker meets Catwoman moment. And that's basically it. They don't even really fight. Because immediately Robin shows up to save her. Because she's not all that bad so far. She's just disguising herself and stealing jewels. It's not the worst thing to do in these comics. Like, there's mad scientists and vampires. Robin, for like the third issue straight, gets his ass kicked. God, Batman really needs to work on him. But Batman shows up at this point, and him and the Joker get into this Douglas Fairbanks-style sword fight in this castle, which is a great thing for him and the Joker to do, especially the fact that the Joker shouldn't be able to take him in a sword fight, but he's been able to deal with the Batman's fighting style for all 3 issues at this point of his appearance. 3 stories, not issues. Batman ends up falling out of the castle, so the Batman loses this fight again. He's lost like 2 out of 4 fights with the Joker, but he catches himself on a vine. The Joker now has to deal with the fact that Catwoman and Robin are locked in a room, so he can't get to the jewels, so he sets the castle on fire because he's a crazy person. Batman shows up and knocks him right out. He then gets Catwoman and Robin, gets them up into the Batplane, leaving the Joker unconscious and behind. So, not completely out of that shadow level of the Batman. He's not actively killing him, but he's letting him die again. I guess it's going to explain why he couldn't get him to the brain surgeon. Wonder if that's going to be brought up again. Catwoman immediately jumps from the Batplane ladder into the water. Even kind of leaves us with suspicious that she might be dead. She is not dead. She even went into that water perfectly. Robin is surprised that Batman let her go again. 3rd time in 2 stories. Because she had the jewels. But Batman reveals to Robin that all she had was the case the jewels were in. Batman has the jewels. So, yeah, it's not like the best story. It's a little all over the place. But, there's not even like that much Joker in it. It's just so fun to have these characters all kind of existing in this one Batman universe that, yeah, I just enjoy it, even though I see its massive flaws. So that is it from Batman number 2, The Joker Meets Catwoman. Basically an Abbott and Costello story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Mondays and Thursdays I cover a Superman story, either in Action Comics or the main Superman comic. And be sure to join us. Same Bat Day, same comic book channel. Have a great day.